Hello everyone, Sage here, and I am going to begin a series on how to get a Daz character to Unreal Engine with genitalia, both male and female. We are going to be using the DazToHue plugin. I did a review on it recently. You can check that out. It is very pricey to start, as it's pretty much an investment. Unless you already have Houdini, then it's not too bad. So if you're a Houdini user, then this will be a lot easier for you in the way of prices. Anyways, we're gonna start with the male character here, and I'm just going to do the Daz portion for this video. I'm going to get the ROMs all set up, but we're not going to export it. We're going to stop right before the export, and then the next series for the male version will be the Houdini side, and that's when we're going to do the export. All right, so let's get started. First thing we need to know is what are ROMs. ROMs are basically going to be your morphs in Unreal Engine. They are made in Daz. This is how we transfer the morphs over from Daz to Houdini back over into Unreal Engine. Now, because this is a very lengthy process, I do have the guides up. Can't show them because it does have not safe for work stuff, and won't be showing, well, try to avoid any not safe for work stuff right here in the screen as well. That's why pretty much what you see right here is what you're going to see throughout the whole video. I'm just going to walk you through the process, seeing me click on the stuff, where to go, and that sort of number, describing it so that you have a understanding on what to do, right? So what are ROMs? ROMs can be complicated as well, because they could be 1 frame, they could be 5 frames. It all depends. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and start with this character. You want to load in your character, and you want to load in Dictator, which I already have loaded up on the screen. Let me find my place over here on this guide. Let's see. The first thing you want to do is with the genitalia is you want it to be like that's a resting spot when it's ready to go, if you catch my drift, right? So make that its starting pose. Me personally, I found it to where just using the base, as soon as I loaded in, I just kept that, and then I imported the morphs, and then I can do all the morph stuff in Unreal Engine, because I want one set of ROMs for all my male characters, right? So what I did, and at the end of this video, you'll be able to do the same thing. So I did it slightly different. So let's go ahead and get into it. If you're just doing one character, get the ready to go status, and then that will be your frame 0. Make sure you're in frame 0. Mess with the testes and all that stuff, because that's going to be basically your starting spot, your resting spot, right? So keep that in mind. All right, once you're happy with the default, we got to adjust the rigging for this, right? So what we do for the rigging is we just come down here, we click on right here on Dictator, and all we're going to do, that's actually step 1. You can actually just have him selected. If you click on this, it'll automatically select it. And then we want to do 5B, adjust rigging shaft. And then the next one is adjust rigging butt. So that is step 1. Yay. Now we got to start loading the ROM. So in this particular ROM set, I have all the JMCs also on the ROM. It makes adjusting morphs very much easier. So let's go ahead and get started on that. Want to make sure you're on frame 0, and then we have to go to the DazToHue. So once you get the plugin of DazToHue and you install it, you'll have this folder in here, right? And it is G9, and then linear right here. So just to give you an idea, DazToHue, poses, Genesis 9, linear. All right, still on frame 0. Now we need to select, I believe that it's the MC. Yep, base figure. Like I said, I'm going very slow, step by step, because there are like 50 freaking steps in this, and what I add on to it is even more steps, right? So we're looking at like 75 steps to get this character ready just to go to Houdini. So it's a very lengthy process, and I'm not comfortable zipping through it. So we got base selected, frame 0. Hold the control. Select this, just one click. No, my mouse does double clicks. Unfortunately, I need a new fucking mouse. I gotta wait for it to get done. What happens is I clicked it, but it double clicked. I don't want that. So click this one time just to have it selected. And as soon as this thing is done here, we'll continue. Because it loads in like 700 frames. There it goes. All right, control, double click. And we want to turn off limits. That's it. So go ahead and click accept. It'll come up with this pop-up. We want to hit yes. And if you do not want any morphs, the guide will just walk you straight through it. This is only for people that want extra morphs included in one setup so that every male character can be used on the same setup, right? All right, the next part is the mouth. So we want to select the mouth here. One click. Please don't do it this time, mouse. Okay, cool. Hold control. Double click. Turn off limits. There it goes. Accept. Another thing about ROMs is you want to make sure all the categories are contained. You can throw them any way you want. The problem is if when you get into Unreal Engine and you put the names for all the poses and everything, you want them all categorized for your own sanity. Because let's say you did frame 1 with smile, and then you did a whole bunch of other stuff, and then you did frame 300 as frown. You're scrolling through all this trying to find frown when you know all your expressions are in a certain area, so you can just scroll to where your expressions are at, and they're all right there. So that's the main reason why you want to keep this organized and all category-wise. All right, so this is basically all the JCM works, mouth works, facials, so that you can make morphs and stuff in Unreal Engine. At this point, I'm going to break off from the guide. I'm going to add a couple morphs here in my own regard. So the first thing we are doing is going to go to the last frame. I do believe, let me just... Yes. Okay, so we want to go to the last frame. You can also just hit like this button right here. Oh no, that's next frame. Skip to the play range in, skip to the start. So that's just another way of doing it. I just slid it all the way across like a dummy. We're also going to have to add some more frames, but we need to keep track of this. And the reason why is it'll make it easier finding the dictator morphs when we apply those morphs coming up here in a few moments. So I think I already have it. 617 total. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and just say total. I'm not going to even add that many, so I'll just say 620. And then current frame, let's go to, what have we left off? 617 is our last frame, right? Cool. So we want to go one frame up. Next frame. And then all we're going to do is click on the model, and I am going to add aggravated, just like that. Now, what you want to do with that pose, with that right here, to make sure that none of the other frames are being affected by it. I'm going to go back one frame just to make sure. You see how all these frames right here, current, they all have angry, right? So, what we want to do is go to 6:18 is where we picked up on, right? I am lagging. And I'm still, like I said, I'm still getting used to this. Why are we on frame 0? Where is our angry pose? It should be 6:18. Let's try this again. Okay, cool. Go back one, Jesus, to 6:17. And we want to make sure this is at 0. Now let's go back to 6:18. Now he's angry. And we have to do that for every one of the morphs, right? We always got to go back one and then forward one. We want to make sure it's always at 0. It's only the one frame. So let's go to 6:19. Scroll up, dang it. Boom. So now we're on frame. Is it still lagging on me? 6:17, 6:18. Or was that the last frame I got? Here, let's just add a few more frames in here. And another thing we can also do is, like, since we're working on the 600 range, here's an easier way. 600. There we go. And this will make it easier. So this one should be our angry. Now we come to this one. We turn this off and we turn that on. Go back one. And oh my Lord. We want to turn angry off for this one. And keep that one. See, none. Aggravated. Angry. And that's how you add extra frames. I'm going to put one more on here just to show an example. And then we just go back one. Turn it off. Boom, boom, boom. And that's how we do that. So we got 620 frames. It can be complicated. Once you get the hang of it, it'll be a lot simpler. All right, so I'm going back to the guide here because I can't remember all this stuff. We want to go back to the very first frame. So let's go ahead and click that. Oh. Range, frame 0. Now we go back. And we want to have our character selected. And we're going to do edit, figure, memorize figure. Boop. Just like that. Then we want to go to our last frame, which we left off on 620. So let's go to 620. Actually, it's going to be 621 because we want annoyed. So we added 3 extra poses. So it's going to be this one. And then we want to do edit, figure, restore figure. Give it a second to think. Come on, Daz. Normally I'm not lagging or anything. I think it's because I'm recording this. So it is taking a few minutes. See, now he's back to where he's at. So now we got to start adding the dictator stuff, right? So let's go ahead and go to here, which is in the commons. So you'll go DazToHue, poses, Genesis 9, common, and then here is dictator. We want to have dictator selected, and then we're going to double click this, and it's going to add more frames. Boom. Now we're up to 670 some. Now to make this actually, I'm going to have to wait on that one because I think we got to go back to frame 0 here in a second. There's a preset. All right. He describes these as being art directed, which is several frames versus what we just did, which were single frames. So he's going to be setting up what he calls fence frames. So the first thing, we have to be in frame 0 with this selected, and we're going to do the same exact thing. Edit, figure, memorize, pose. Sorry, memorize figure, not pose. Now we're going to go back to the frame that we were just at, which is 621. Right here. And we're going to restore it. This is just setting up for the base. What am I doing? Restore. Restore figure. And that sets up the base. Memorize it, then restore it. For all, we have to do that for all the fencing frames. So in this particular scene, it's I'm trying to think of an easier way of getting this organized, because it adds on right after your character, right? So the first one that he has is going to be frame 650s. Ours will be 53 because I added 3 more, right? So this is where keeping up with what frame for the base model left off, so that you can do the basic math. -3 because that's basic math. But let's say you added like 25 or something, right? So let's say you added 25 expressions. So your total would not be the whole 617 that he has in total frames. Yours would be 642. So then when you add the dictator on, it'd be at close to 700, right? So the best way to do it for me, how I did it was like, okay, I got 642. He's at 617. That's 25. So whatever frame he says, I got to add 25 to it, and that's the frame I need to fix. The frames that need to be fixed are frames number 650, 656. Actually, you know what? Let me just do a notepad on this so that you guys can have reference. And I would show the guide. I just can't because it has images that will get me banned. So 650, 656, 663, 664, the devil 666, and 669. So whatever morphs you added, you just got to add to whatever this is. So for example, mine would be 653, 59, Satan 666, 67, 69, and then 72. And what we're going to do is basically do the restore that we just did on those same exact ones, right? So let's go to 653. And I'm trying to explain this as best as I can. because everyone's is going to be different, because everyone's going to add different amounts of morphs. That's just nature of the beast. I just hope I'm explaining it well enough for you guys, because it can get confusing. So let's go ahead and restore figure, and you'll see your shaft over there changing back to the original forms that you had set up. All right, next one is for me is going to be 69. Edit, figures, restore. And then Satan's work, 666. Edit, figure, restore. And then the next one is just one frame, so I'm going to hit next frame. And then 2 frames, so I'm just going to hit this twice. 1, 2. It's good to see that my PC is no longer being fickly. All right, then 72. And now you should have all your different restore points exactly how they should be. Oh my gosh, it's already 22 minutes into the recording, and I'm only like halfway through. Jeez. All right. Oh, and the original. I did forget about the original. Yeah. So going back up to this. That's wherever your dictator starts. And then these all need to be repeated. Let's go ahead. I think I already did this, but I'll do it again just to make sure. All right. From this point, we are going to be I'll show you how to like add some more morphs, right? So we're going to be adding more morphs. So let me just go to key. I can't quite see if that is empty, so we're going to zoom in. Let's zoom into 65. Okay, so we do need to add frames. I'm just going to add a few like I did last time. So let's say like 4. And then we're going to just like that. That should have been enough. Let me test something here. See, this is another problem. There we go. Now we added more. Zoom. Here's where our morphs ended. And these are the frames that we need. So let's go to, let's say, this morph right here. And you want to add another morph. No problem. Let's add some morphs. Let's just take, it doesn't matter, any of these will work. Right here, boom, for the balls, right? Balls and chain. Then what you want to do is just go back one like this. 0. And it's the same as we did before. Let's say this one now, and then we go that 0, then we step back, take that off. 1, 2. We don't have to do the last frame because it's that same one, and we will just end up cutting it when I do the total frames, because we're right now on frame 676, so we just need 677 in total, like so. Cool. So I added 2 different morphs. Yay, right? Now we have to do something I've actually never done before. So we want to select the model, and then go all the way down to the last thing. Boop. Now we go all the way back up, right click, select all items keyed filtered. Boop. Select. Then this will turn yellow. And as soon as it's done, we'll start the next step. It takes it a second to calculate all this. All right, cool. Want to click on this little icon right here? Click linear. Cool. Let's see. Now he goes into art directing. So for art directing, basically what it's doing is taking, let's say, like 5 frames, and an example he is giving in this guide is basically the skin going over the head, if you understand what I'm saying. So you can do more than one morph to make that little animation more subtle. I personally do not use them because there's enough morphs that I imported, that I added, to where I can just use those morphs. I don't need to do these particular morphs, so I just left them as is. But if you want to, just go to the frames that he's described. He's talking about frame number 630. For us, it'll be 633, but I can't show you anyways because I'd get kicked off of YouTube. But those 5 frames, so 630, 31, 32, 33, and 34. Those 5 frames is the one that he was giving an example for. And he just changes multiple little morphs so that there's no clipping in that morph animation. So that was some really nice info. He goes into detail on every one of these guides. Let's see. And I'm just going over, basically skipping over this guide on all those portions. Any changes that you do, you need to, like, let's say you did all this, like what we just did, but then you go and add more morphs, or you change something, you have to go and select all this stuff, right click that, hit the body, and do this again. But I haven't changed anything, so I do not need to do that. See, he's still going over the morphs. It's actually a pretty big portion of this. Okay, that seems to be it. Just making sure. Okay, cool. So after that, we're gonna be like exporting to Houdini. But for this particular setup, I wanted to show you guys how you can save this, so you don't have to keep doing it. So I loaded in a ton of morphs. Like, I think I have like 800 morphs between, I gave my character 25 expression morphs, so that he's smiling, he's happy. I can get a starting base, right? He's mad, angry, scared. I get a starting base. Then I can take the face morphs that we loaded in, FACS, JCMs, and then we can tweak it all. So that's the only reason why I added 25 morphs, just to get a starting base. Let's save this now. So what you want to do, if you just want to have one file for all these characters, is you just click File. I hate that double click. I don't know why. All my mice ends up doing that. Like, I just got this mouse like a year ago, and now it's doing the same thing my old mouse. The reason why I got rid of it. Anyways, rant's over. You go to save as, and you want to do property preset. Click that. As you can tell, I already have my 2 here. So you just, let's say, I'll just put this as example. Save. And it's going to bring up this window right here. You want animated range, start frames, right? Keep all this checked. The only thing we want to change is go to materials and exclude materials. Because when you load this on another male model, you don't want his textures going to it, right? Then you just click accept. And then we do the same for dictator right here. So we do file, save as, property preset, example schlong, and then you just hit save. Keep that, keep that, keep that. Just go to materials, undo it, hit accept. And with that, we can load in another character and use all these same things. So you just like, you get your character, get them how you want them to be settled on dictator and whatnot, the starting thing. And then you just click on the character. You go into your stuff, which mine is right here in Unreal presets. Bam. And then you can, man, I have nothing saved, do I? And then you can apply it. Then you do the same for dictator. You click it, and then you click its property thing, and then you're set. Simple as that. Anyways, hope you guys found this useful. I hope it wasn't too confusing because I couldn't show you eyes on all the stuff going on downstairs. However, these are all the steps that you need to do in order to get your character with morphs over into Houdini. And again, I did not go into the fencing because I don't use the fencing. I just use the morphs that come with the JCMs and the ones that I added with the dictator. And I think the next video will be of me doing the same thing except with the female. If I might just go over it saying the differences with the female. I don't know because I haven't looked into it or done it yet. But I'm about to get started on that now, which will be an adventure of itself. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a thumbs up. Leave that like button. And go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Ding, ding. Bell icon. All that good jazz. And I will catch you guys in the next video. In this probably going to be very long playlist to get Daz characters over into Unreal Engine looking simply beautiful. And it's not just going to be getting the gens over there. We're going to be doing eyebrows. We're going to be doing eyes, eyelashes. We're going to be doing all of those as well. Because when we export this in the next portion of the mail, we are not taking the eyebrows. That's going to be gone. And that's going to be gone. We're going to be deleting those from our scene. But that's a story for another day. Hope you guys enjoyed. Take care and stay frosty. Peace out.